all happy, but it's like, that's my ID, I guess.
Yeah.
And just kind of pulling that one out there.
Barely realizing it was really you when you got the car.
Yeah. Alright. Yeah, I warned you that thing. Yeah, right? Yeah, we're just gonna date you.
Yeah.
Secretly, we're actually working on a mannequin. Well, actually, what we're gonna do, you know, I was telling these guys earlier. When I was in London, I was in negotiations with folks from Maximum Entertainment because you know they've released the DVDs out in England, and I did an interview for the those exactly. So they're going to re-release those, and that's the plan. That really is the plan. At this point, you know, what I've really discovered about myself is, you know, I certainly like to be creative, but I guess I like to be creative where people don't recognize me. Voiceovers and writing and creating. So these days I'm focusing quite a bit more on my writing and such. But, you know, one of the goals always has been to make this one of my writing homes.
Right.
You know.
Can you tell us what kind of stuff you write?
Well, at this point, I'm working on a graphic novel. So you know, feature-length comic book. And the idea originally was so I could hold on to the rights of the characters of the story a little bit more, because obviously, whenever anything comes out in one form and is popular, you know, the movie industry tends to be a little bit more respectful. And basically,
your own creation?
Yeah. And you know, my partner has somebody online that worked on the CSI comics, and I'm still to meet him. But had a great meeting and discussion with Simon Williams and Jason Corday, who do the Transformer comics out of Great Britain, and also work on the Hulk and Spider-Man. And Simon and I had a great evening because we were basically just trading ideas and trading stories, and I could very easily see working with him, whether I would be a story consultant for him, working at, because that's what I tend to be strong at, is just ideas, working out problems. But right now I'm working on a pilot for American television that's basically it's historical in nature, but entertaining as well. We present history, not as it actually happened, but how people remember it. So for instance,
that's a series or
a series, but basically, you know, it's like, for instance, when you all go home and you tell the story about what happened tonight, it's going to be a little different than what actually happened. And then, of course, if one of your friends goes on and tells the story that you told them, it's going to be different from their story, which is going to be further different from what actually happened tonight. Before you know it, I'll actually have killed like 2-headed dogs in the street with my bare hands. So it's like, I was trying to explain the situation with Kylie, and I said, you know what? There's an actor that I've gotten to know, and I've gotten to sit down a couple times and have drinks with. His name's Mark Hamill, and you know, he's famous as Luke Skywalker, blah blah blah. So I sit there sometimes, and I'll be in the middle of talking to Mark, and all of a sudden the little man in my head is going, you know, but you know, unlike you guys, you know, I mean, at that point I don't feel like I can really bring up the movie, and I don't want to talk about stuff like that. But one day, I'll, you know, I will
come up
say,
with your DVD and sign it.
No,
Yeah, it will.
But it's weird because after a certain point, it's like I don't necessarily want him to.
Yeah.
Because I don't want, but
I've been in a similar situation, and I actually got to the point that I actually wanted him to, not him, but the guy.
Right.
To sign my version of the, I think it was a CD or a catalog.
Right.
Because it meant something to me, and he really wanted to do it for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I've had friends or people that, you know, that I think I'm on friendly terms will ask me to sign something sometimes. You know, for a half a moment it's slightly awkward, but it's not awkward in a bad way. It's awkward in a good way. It's like, well, of course I will. I mean, you're a friend. You know. And I'm starting to meet some of these people. I mean, I've talked with Quentin Tarantino a couple of times. Wow. And at a certain point, you know, I would like to be able to send him, you know, Wolfman after it's published, and just say, I don't know if you remember when I told you about this, and just send it to him because you like the comics, and hey, if he wants to contact me, great. You know, I'd love to hear back from him. You know, the other day in London, Have you guys heard of a movie called Super Size Me? Yeah, the guy who made that was signing books in London. So I went, I wasn't supposed to have the time free, but I ended up having the free time. She said, let me go. So I went, actually started talking to him a little bit, and we actually talked about 10 or 15 minutes. And finding we do have some things in common. And basically I told him about my pilot, and he said, when it's done, would you send it to me? Heck yeah, I will. Because if I can't sell it, but he wants to write something like an introduction saying, this is great. What I did to hopefully educate people about fast food, Neil Kaplan's trying to do, educating people about fast history. Or about fast food history, or just whatever. Drive-through history. Because when you start networking and making associations like that, it really can be very powerful. Absolutely. Well,
so you're going to do something more like Sin City. First, release the graphic novel.
And the main reason is because, I originally thought of it as a film, but to keep control, because I'm not a screenwriter at this point, or I'm not thought of as a screenwriter, and these characters, this setup means so much to me that I want to keep control of it. So by having a popular graphic novel, that's how we'll do that. There are other stories that, quite frankly, I'll write, and if they want to buy them for 50 grand and turn them upside down, it's like, okay, fine. Go ahead, take it, it's yours. I like the idea, but I'm not in love with it. But there are 2 or 3 major ones. It's like, this is what I want to do.
I think the most important thing is to sign a name. Because I correspond with the 2 guys that make comics called Hawaiian Dick.
Right.
And Johnny Knoxville was actually interested in it.
Right.
The guy from Jackass, stuff like that. And he said I wanted to do this. And after they got in attached to the project, they got a screenwriter, they got everything going. Because of the
absolutely, I want a writer or director or an actor. Like, for instance, one of the things that I would love in a perfect world is to send the script to M. Night Shyamalan and basically say, I know you only direct your own stuff so far, but this is along the lines of something you might write. Would you look into it and consider it? Because in a perfect world, he would direct that.
Right. He's your favorite director, right?
No.
But he would be perfect.
But because it's one of those twisty kind of stories, it doesn't end up as